Dear students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I am Manzoor Ahmed, lecturer history. Today we are going to start unit number 10 of our syllabus in 11th class history subject, and the name of the unit is Displacing Indigenous People. Dear students, before trying to know about various topics of this unit, let's try to understand the theme of this unit, that is Displacing Indigenous People. Dear students, we know, as we talked in previous units and previous lectures and previous units, that during 17th and 18th century AD, people from different European countries like Holland, France, England, Portugal, Spain, Italy, Germany, the people from all these European countries went across Atlantic Ocean and reached North and South America. After reaching North and South America, the people from these European countries established various colonies in North and South America, where these people began to live. It was during the same time, from 17th and 18th centuries, that people from different European countries also began to reach Australia as well. So we need to understand, during 17th and 18th centuries, the people from different European countries reached North America, South America, and then Australia as well. And we understand the natives of North America, South America, and Australia. Natives means the original residents of this America and Australia, who originally lived there before the arrival of Europeans to these lands. Original inhabitants of, we can say, these North America, South America, and Australia. That's what we call natives. And the natives of North America, South America, and Australia are believed to have given warm welcome to the Europeans when they reached to their lands. And we understand these native people, once again, native means the people who were the original inhabitants of the North America, South America, and Australia. And these natives used or lived a very simple life. They did not claim any right over their land. They used to produce enough food grains for their existence. They gave gifts to the Europeans. However, we need to understand, the Europeans had not come to America and Australia with the motive of friendship. They had come with the clear intention of trade and with the clear intention of taking gold from these lands. Initially, these Europeans tried to have friendly relations with the native people, and the natives also thought that these Europeans were trying to be friendly with them. But the natives ultimately failed to understand the true nature of the true motives of the Europeans, true motive of the arrival of Europeans into their lands. And with the gradual increase of Europeans into North America and South America and Australia, their true face was exposed before the native people. When the power of the Europeans increased in North America, South America, and Australia, and these Europeans then began to inflict atrocities on the natives of North America, South America, and Australia. These natives were denied all sorts of rights. They were compelled to. They were forced to pay revenues, pay taxes, pay heavy taxes. And such were the atrocities faced by the natives of North America, South America, and Australia, that the natives were forced to abandon their lands. They were displaced, we can say. These indigenous people, means the native people, the original inhabitants of North America, South America, and Australia, they were forced to displace, they were forced to leave their original lands and were forced to retreat to the forest areas, were forced to go to the forest areas due to the atrocities which they faced at the hands of the Europeans. So we need to understand, the Europeans Europeans came to the North America, South America, and Australia in 17th and 18th centuries. After they came there, due to the atrocities which these Europeans inflicted upon the natives. Natives means the original inhabitants of this North America, South America, and Australia. And natives are also known as indigenous. With the indigenous people, which the atrocities which the Europeans inflicted upon natives or indigenous people of North America, South America, and Australia. As a result of these atrocities, the natives or the indigenous people of North America, South America, and Australia, they were forced to get displaced. They were forced to move out. Displaced means to move out of the main areas where they lived, of the cities where they lived, and are forced to retreat to the jungles and to the forest areas. So it were the Europeans who forced the indigenous or the native people to get displaced, to leave their to leave the places where they originally lived and are forced to retreat to the jungle areas. That is why this unit is named as displacing indigenous people. That is, the Europeans displaced means forced the indigenous, the native people, to move out of their own lands and forced them to retreat due to the atrocities which the Europeans inflicted upon these indigenous people. They were forced to retreat and move out of their homelands and retreat to the forest areas, and the main areas, the center areas, the urban areas, the city areas were later on taken into the control by the Europeans. And the native people, no doubt, the indigenous people, no doubt, raised the banner of revolt on several occasions to regain their rights, but every time they were suppressed with iron hand by the European, this cruel people. During the 17th century, winds of change began to flow. However, we understand that during the 17th century, 20th century, during the 20th century AD, the rule of the Europeans slowly and steadily began to end over the natives, over the countries of North America, South America, and Australia. As a result, the winds of change began to follow. Change began to occur. That Europeans began to leave the lands of North America, South America, and this Australia. And these, as a result, the respective governments of North America, South America, and Australia recognized the indigenous culture, the native, the rights of the native people of the North America, South America, and Australia. However, we need to understand these native people could never be able to get the limelight in their lands in North America, South America, and Australia. And even today we see there are vast majorities of Europeans and even now Asians and Africans living in the central places of North America, South America, and the Australia. And the original inhabitants of these lands, there's North America, South America, and Australia, are even now living in the rural areas, and the central places, the urban places in these three lands were taken into their control by the Europeans. Europeans came here. The European governments ended here during the 17th century, during the 20th century AD. But at the end of the day, the Europeans who had to come into live into these lands and establish their colonies, these Europeans remained there. They did not leave these lands, and ultimately the native people, though they regained their rights, they got independence, but they were not allowed to reside in the city areas where they used to live earlier. Rather, they were forced to live in the villages, live in the rural areas where they had retreated when the Europeans had inflicted atrocities upon them. No doubt their rights were accepted, but they did not get the central place in their native lands of North America, South America, and Australia.